Hello, this is Angie with CountryChicCottage.net. Did you know that you can engrave acrylic with your Cricut Maker? Today we're going to talk about engraving acrylic blanks. So I'm going to use like some circle blanks that already have a hole in them and do some engraving on them. But I'll also show you some pieces that I actually cut with my Cricut and engrave them. So if you don't know, I've done a video in the past about cutting acrylic with your Cricut Maker, so you can actually engrave and cut both on the Cricut Maker. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. You can always drop down below and find links to anything I'm talking about, as well as past videos like that video on cutting acrylic. For now, let's take a look at the supplies we're going to use to do our project today. You're going to need a strong grip mat, as well as some masking tape and a brayer. And then you're going to need some sort of acrylic blank. I'm using a 4-inch circle blank that already has a hole punched in it. I'm going to use it as a gift tag. This will make a great ornament, that type of thing. The first thing you want to note about the acrylic blanks, any of them that you buy, they'll most likely have a protective film on both sides. For engraving on the Maker, we're going to need to remove that protective film from one side. You can leave the protective film on the back, and then you're going to need to locate it on your mat. So what you want to do is locate it somewhere where you know where it is, so when we're in Cricut Design Space we can move it around. So what I'm going to do is locate the 3-inch line, so the 3-inch line this way and the 3-inch line this way on my mat. I'm going to locate that in the center of my blank. So I have the blank on the 5 and the 1 and the 5. Then we're going to press it down really well. Run the brayer over it, make sure it's stuck. And then we want to add some tape. Now, you do not want the tape in any of the areas where you will actually be engraving. So my engraving is actually a little over 3 inches. So I'm just going to catch the edge of my 4-inch circle. And I like taping it all the way around. You can definitely just tape like 4 sides. But I like the extra security of going all the way around with the tape. So I'm just grabbing it in various areas, and then I do one on each corner. So now my acrylic blank is secure and in place on my strong grip mat. Let's head to Cricut Design Space and look at the design, and then we'll head to our Cricut machine and engrave this blank. The first thing you're going to want to do is to pick a design. So the designs that work best with your engraving tool are going to be ones that are draw. So let's punch in any search term. Then if you click Art Type and Draw Only, that will sort your results by ones that are draw files. These will make better engraving. So we can search through here and we can find the design we want, and we'll just pick one for now as an example because we're going to use the one I've already designed, and we want to insert those onto our mat. So for the gift tag, I actually did a circle, and as you can see, with flowers all the way around and then some text. So what you can do is actually insert a circle just for illustration purposes and make it the 4 inches. And then we can send that to the back, and we can make it a gray. And now you can kind of see what your engraving is going to look like on your tag. And we can delete this off in a minute. For text, we can do the same thing. So we can go to fonts, and I'm going to do Cricut fonts, and I'm going to filter those for writing. And then I can pick any of these fonts have a writing style, so I can just pick one that I like. We will pick, I think the Cake Basics is what I was using. And then we can do 2. And then you could space this out. You could change your line spacing to something else, that type of thing. And then you just want to make sure that this is draw for now, but we're going to change it in just a minute. And then we could locate that, see how it looks on our tag, align it right. And then you could move those elements around till you get them just like you want them. So maybe I like that on my tag. So then I would delete the tag back off, pick these two elements, attach those together, come up here, and I want to choose the engrave for the line type. Now to get this option, you will need to make sure that your machine type is on Maker, otherwise this option will not show up. So now we'll click engrave, and now this one is ready to engrave. So we're actually going to engrave this one that I already designed. So I'm going to delete this one off, and I'm going to click make it. Now you can see my engraved design. And like I said, I located my blank on the 3" by 3" mark. So now I want to move this over here to where it's centered around the 3" mark, both vertically and horizontally. And then once I have it where I want it, I click continue. And then we'll have to set our base material. So for acrylic, there's actually two options when you're engraving. There's 2mm thick and 1mm thick. These blanks that I'm using are fairly thin, so I'll probably pick 1mm. But if you're using a thicker blank, just pick the 2, whatever is closest to what you're using. And then it'll tell you to load your engrave tip in clamp B and load your mat to start. So let's head to our Cricut Maker and engrave our blank. I've already loaded my engraving tip into the Maker, and now I can add my mat that we prepared earlier. I do want to note that my star wheels are all the way over here on the right side, so just move them along this bar all the way to the right, and that means that they won't scratch the face of my acrylic. And then we just want to press the arrow button to load. And the C button to start. Once the engraving is finished, you can unload your mat, and then we'll remove this blank. So you can see that engraving on our acrylic, and we'll just remove this from the mat. So what I would recommend, there's all kinds of little bits and pieces, if you can see them, of the acrylic, and you've already wasted this tape. So what I like to do is just take the tape and sort of run it across the acrylic and pick up all those little pieces. And then we'll just go ahead and remove it completely. And then the last thing we want to do is remove that protective sheet from the back. Then we'll just peel back that protective paper from the back, and we have an engraved acrylic piece all with our Cricut Maker. So this is an example of a pre-purchased blank and engraving that with the Maker, but I did want to show you a few pieces. So these pieces I actually cut with my Cricut Maker and engraved them. So I have another video all about cutting acrylic, and I will link to that in the description below, so you can head there and learn how to cut your own acrylic if you want to cut it and engrave it both, which I did with both of these pieces. Now I hope you'll use your newfound knowledge and that engraving tip to engrave all the acrylic things. If you want to know more about your engraving tip, I'll drop a link below to a video that I did all about engraving all the things with the engraving tip, so you can see what else that tip will do. So once you purchase it, you can use it for all the things. I also just did a video on engraving wood with your Cricut Maker, which I didn't even know it could do originally, and I'll link to that below as well. You'll definitely want to check that out. And now, grab your acrylic, start engraving all the things. You're gonna love it, and I'm sure you can come up with all kinds of projects that you can do with this technique. If you learned something new, love this video, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've done today, questions about your Cricut Maker in general, you can ask those in the comment section below. Be sure to head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos like this all the time and you don't want to miss any of those. So head out, get that engraving tip, get some acrylic blanks or acrylic sheets, and start making some projects. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.